Hello friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. So I've made a lot of videos talking about all the different animes that I love, but out of all those animes, one anime that I haven't really talked about at all is Naruto, and I'm talking the whole Naruto franchise, Naruto Part 1, Naruto Shippuden, Boruto, the works. I have a bit of a complicated history with Naruto because although I love it now, I didn't always like Naruto. I actually didn't really enjoy Naruto Part 1 the first time I watched it through with my boyfriend. It wasn't until we were watching Naruto Shippuden, and even then it really wasn't until the pain arc that I found myself like emotionally invested. The main reason why I didn't like Naruto at first is really due to its treatment of its female characters. If you're familiar with Naruto, then you're probably very aware that female characters in Naruto are generally treated as an afterthought at best, and that's like best case scenario. And you know, as both a writer and also just as a woman, that really infuriated me, especially because I gotta say it, I'm a Sakura girl. She is my favorite character in all of Naruto. I'm actually repping Sakura right now. I'm wearing the Sakura like eyeshadow that came out with the Naruto ColourPop collab. I don't know if you can really see it. I also have the eyeliner. I was gonna wear the eyeliner, but it's 8 a.m. and I didn't have the patience for eyeliner. I have like an hour to film this video before I go back to school, so I just did the eyeshadow. And I love it. Now, even if you aren't familiar with Naruto or even just anime as a whole, you are probably still aware of just how much Sakura has been notoriously mistreated by both the anime and also by Naruto fans. Like, she is probably historically one of the most hated anime characters of all time. Thankfully, things have gotten better for Sakura over time, but it took so fucking long for both the anime and Naruto fans to finally treat her with the respect that she deserves. Like, Jesus Christ. It took many years. I could talk forever about Naruto's treatment of its female characters, but there's actually somebody who made a video about how Naruto has failed its female characters that I'll have linked down below in the description of this video. I really definitely recommend that you go check it out. If you are someone who has watched Naruto. Even if you haven't watched Naruto, you might still find it interesting, so I'll leave it in the description of this video. I've always gone back and forth with, I feel like at some point, like in the future, I might make my own video about, because I don't get me wrong, that video is very good. Again, it'll be linked in the description. But there are a couple points that I also want to bring up. So I might make my own video, who knows, but again, that'll be very far in the future if that does happen. But for now, definitely go check out the video linked down below. Anyway, eventually I did come around. I did grow to like Naruto. It took a long time, but I did get there. I've rewatched Naruto Part 1 and Shippuden multiple times through at this point. I couldn't really tell you how many. And me and Adam, my boyfriend, have been watching Boruto recently. This is probably controversial, but I actually enjoyed early Boruto way more than I enjoyed early Naruto. I actually don't know if that is controversial, but it feels like sometimes everything in this fandom is controversial, so sorry. But yeah, long story short, I like Naruto now. I would definitely consider myself a big fan. Don't get me wrong, I will always call out Naruto's mistreatment of its female characters in a heartbeat, as well as all the other grievances I have with the franchise, because I have many. I have a lot of things to say. But overall, I do enjoy Naruto. And I knew that I wanted to make a video about Naruto, but I just wasn't sure specifically what, because it's such a big anime, a big franchise. There's a lot to discuss, so I didn't know what specifically I wanted to make a video in regards to Naruto about. Again, besides one about its female characters, because that'll take me a while. Like, I'll need to like really sit down and like write down what I'm gonna say. But then one day, me and Adam were on the tier maker website. I think it's literally just called tiermaker.com, if I'm not mistaken. Fun fact about Adam, he loves a good tier list. And one of the tier lists that we happened to see, because we were just doing some general like anime tier lists that day, which actually, that's a good video. Anyway, sorry. I just thought about that just now. But what's important for this video is that we saw a tier list template for the Naruto movies. So for today's Fangirl Fridays video, I thought that it would be fun to rank all of the Naruto movies. If you're wondering why I'm not making this video with Adam, considering the fact that he is such a big tier list guy, he's such a big tier list fan, it's because, like most of the Naruto fans that I know, Adam hasn't watched any of the Naruto movies. I'm sure that there are plenty of Naruto fans who don't even know that most of these movies exist. But because I'm me, I have watched every single Naruto movie, including the Boruto movie, and I have thoughts, so I'm gonna be doing a tier list. Because there are some Naruto movies that I actually think are worth watching, and there are some that I definitely think you can skip. So this is kind of my chance to make my cases for all these different movies. Also, as a quick disclaimer, although I'm not gonna be doing like a deep dive into like the plots of any of these movies for the most part, I will be discussing some like very light spoilers for Naruto Part 1, Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto. So this is your one and only like spoiler warning if you care, but again, we're really not going to talk about anything crazy here. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, I have my laptop. For each of these movies, by the way, I'm going to give you like the general like blurb, like when you Google the movies, like what it's about, just so that you have a little bit of context. So for this first movie, we have Naruto the movie, Ninja Clash in the Land of Snow. It came out in 2004. And it says, Naruto and his team set out to guard Yuki, a popular actress, from being captured. This movie was fine. It wasn't particularly a standout in one way or another. This is the only movie, by the way, that takes place before Sasuke's defection. So it's the only movie that we get all of like the original Team 7 together, so that's cool, I guess. The mission itself wasn't really anything spectacular, but it was cute to see everyone in their little winter outfits with their little winter accessories, so the movie does get a couple of points for that. I give this movie a solid C. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either, just kind of something to put in the background if you want some just casual Naruto shenanigans. Alright, next up we have Naruto the movie, Legend of the Stone of Gelel. I think that's how you say it. I already forgot. It came out in 2005, and so the general little blurb is, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sakura must protect a powerful stone from being used by evil forces. I feel pretty much the same about this movie as I did with The Land of Snow. Like, it's just kind of, it's a movie. It's not terrible, but it's just kind of meh. Like, there's robots in this movie, but it's just kind of like, okay. There's nothing particularly incredible about this movie, though it does get a couple of points for this one screen grab. If you've ever watched any like don't pause Naruto compilations videos, then there's a good chance you've seen this screenshot. And in case you were wondering, it actually comes from this movie. It's a pretty early scene in the movie. There's like this big explosion that just happened, and like I think they were in like a ship or like some like abandoned building or something. They were on a beach, and like Naruto has nothing else to grab onto, so he grabs onto Kankuro. Oh, by the way, Gaara and Kankuro are in this movie, so that's kind of cool. That's literally like the only memorable part of the movie, so I give it a C. It's definitely not like better than The Land of Snow, but I wouldn't consider it to be like so much worse that I'd put it any lower. Alright, next we have Naruto the movie 3, Guardians of the Crescent Moon Kingdom. It came out in 2006, and so the little blurb says, Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi team up with Rock Lee to protect Prince Michiru and his son Hikaru on their journey home and save the Crescent Moon Kingdom from an uprising. So this is our final Naruto Part 1 movie before we get into the Shippuden movies, and I actually really like this movie quite a lot. I think it was very wholesome. I love everyone's little summer outfits. They're so cute. I also love that Kakashi's summer outfit is literally just him wearing a fucking short sleeves and like shorter pants. Like, I thought that was very funny. I really like the bond that Naruto forms with Hikaru. It feels very reminiscent of Naruto and Inari from the Land of Waves arc. Honestly, in general, this mission feels very reminiscent of the Land of Waves mission, just because it's like, it's an escort mission, and again, Hikaru reminds me of Inari. But it's different enough that it doesn't feel like too repetitive. It's a pretty standard rich privileged people learn that there's more to life than like materialistic things kind of like plot. But because it's a Naruto movie, I feel like it's kind of elevated because you have Naruto and the gang around. The fight scenes are exciting. I especially love Sakura's final fight scene because we really get to see like her growth as a fighter. Like obviously she's not at like Shippuden level by any means, but you know, she's getting there. She's holding her own. But yeah, this is a cute movie. I liked it. Do I think it's like a cinematic masterpiece? No, but out of all the Naruto movies, I think it's definitely one of the better ones. So I give it a solid A. All right, next we have Naruto Shippuden, the movie. It came out in 2007. So it says Naruto must protect the priestess Shion, and in doing so, help her fulfill her mission to defeat an evil demon and save the world while also trying to escape the prediction of his own death. So this is our first Shippuden movie. I think it takes place after the first Shippuden arc. This movie was okay. I liked the team up of Naruto, Sakura, Lee, and Neji. I thought that was cool. The plot is pretty basic and not particularly exciting because we already know that Naruto isn't gonna die. So the whole like, oh no, Naruto's gonna die thing that the plot really kind of like hinges on, it isn't particularly compelling because again, we already know that he's gonna be fine. Again, the fight scenes, they're cool. I also completely forgot that Tamari shows up at the end of the film until I like revisited it for this video, so that's cool. The one thing that's like very memorable from this movie is actually its final scene. I know it's become like a bit of a meme in like the Naruto fandom, so even if you haven't seen the movie, you probably have seen this video like circulating like on social media and stuff. So basically in this final scene, Naruto is asking Shion, the priestess that he is like supposed to protect throughout this movie, the day has been saved, and he's like to Shion, like, so what are you gonna do now? What are your plans for the future? And she's like, oh, well, I'm going to, you know, continue the line of priestesses to kind of like, just in case this evil demon thing that we had to deal with in this movie comes back one day. So I'm gonna continue the line of priestesses, because she's the last of like her kind. And so she literally looks right at Naruto as she's saying this, and she's like, oh, Naruto, will you help me? Basically insinuating that like, oh, like, will you be the father of my child? And Naruto, being Naruto, is like, okay. He's like, sure, I'll help you. Oh, we love him. We love Naruto. That scene is so fucking funny because you have Sakura and Kakashi and Lee, they're just like, Kakashi's reaction always gets me. I'm like, oh my god, that's just so fucking funny. Definitely go watch. Again, you can definitely find like the video on like YouTube and shit, so like definitely go look it up and watch it because it's so funny. Even if you don't have the full context, it's so funny. I give this movie a C. I think that final scene is literally the only reason why it like slightly beats out The Land of Snow. But yeah. Alright, next we have Naruto Shippuden, the movie, Bonds. It came out in 2008, and so it says, a mysterious group of ninjas from the Sky Country launch a surprise attack on the Leaf Village, a country which nearly destroyed the Sky Country during the last Shinobi World War. I'm also just realizing now as I'm reading this little blurb that how little it describes what the movie is actually about. Like, it is about this, but it also, like, it kind of really isn't. This movie takes place after episode 71 of Shippuden, and despite having Naruto and Sasuke on the movie poster, it really isn't about Naruto and Sasuke's bond at all. Like, it kind of is a little bit, but if you watch the movie, it's not really. Like, it's like a tiny bit about it. Like, Naruto and Sasuke both just kind of have like their own separate missions that just happen to overlap, and they just happen to have to fight like the final antagonist of the movie together. So like that's like really the only part that's like about like Naruto and Sasuke together. But besides that one bit, you're not really gonna get a lot about like their specific bond if that's what you're looking for with this movie. There's also this girl, and she's like the zero-tailed Jinchuriki, which should have been more interesting, but it really wasn't. And that's kind of how I feel about the whole movie. Like, it should have been more interesting, but it just wasn't. There was this really cool Sai and Shino team up in the beginning of the film, but then my interest fizzled out very soon after that. This movie also has one of the only interactions between Sasuke and Hinata in the entire Naruto franchise, so that was kind of cool, but it was also very random. I'm putting this movie in D because honestly it was pretty boring and I have no desire to watch it again. Alright, next we have Naruto Shippuden, the movie The Will of Fire. It came out in 2009. And so it says, 4 ninjas who guard the hidden villages of Cloud, Stone, Mist, and Sand disappear from their villages, and another ninja war will break out if they are not found. Okay, this summary doesn't really do a good job of explaining what the movie is actually about, which is really a shame because it's actually my favorite Naruto movie. So this movie is set after episode 126 of Shippuden, and basically we have this guy, Hiroko, and he's going around stealing all of the notable Kekkei Genkai from each of the, all the great nations, except for the Land of Fire. And so this leads people to believe in the other ninja villages and the other nations that oh, maybe the Land of Fire is responsible for all these incidents, or at least in some way complicit. And so basically the feudal lord of the Land of Fire basically goes to Tsunade and is like, listen, you need to find who is responsible and you need to bring them, you need to go take care of them. Otherwise, we're gonna have to destroy the Leaf Village to preserve world peace. Okay, that part is kind of meh, but just stay with me, alright? Okay, just hear me out. And so now Hiroko is targeting Kakashi for his Sharingan because he actually knows where Kakashi is, unlike Sasuke, and you know, Itachi is Itachi. He doesn't want to mess with Itachi. It's also because Hiroko actually met Kakashi 10 years ago in the Third Great Ninja War, and he basically put because I think that was the first time he saw the Sharingan for the first time. So he saw Kakashi Sharingan, he's like, ooh, I'm gonna want that for later. So he basically put this puppet curse on Kakashi, which means he can control Kakashi when he activates it. And because Kakashi knows this, he basically goes to Tsunade and he's like, look, let me go deal with Hiroko because I'm gonna lose control of my body anyway, but what you can do is put this special seal on me that will automatically activate my Kamui when I make contact with Hiroko, and so that way it will effectively kill me and Hiroko and all our problems will be solved. Now Tsunade is not a fan of this plan. She's like, I'm not gonna go send you to your death, what are you talking about? But after Kakashi convinces her a bit more, she finally relents. She's like, okay, I'll do it. So she puts the seal on Kakashi, and then that night Hiroko activates the puppet curse and Kakashi leaves the village under Hiroko's control. And Tsunade basically labels Kakashi as a deserter and is like, nope, everybody stay away from him to not interfere with this mission, but she doesn't tell them why. So then you have Naruto and Sakura. They're like, no, fuck that. We're gonna leave the village and we're gonna go get our sensei back. And then so Tsunade sends Team 8, Team 10, and Team Guy after them to stop them, because again, otherwise they'll interfere with the mission, and bring them back to the village. So that's what the actual setup for the movie is. I really love this movie. Like I said before, this is actually my favorite Naruto movie. I've watched it multiple times. Yes, the setup for the movie has been in some places, and I will say the villain, Hiroko, he isn't really the most exciting villain ever. And yes, this movie also does suffer a bit from the same thing that the first Naruto Shippuden movie does, because we know that Kakashi isn't actually going to die. But none of that really matters to me personally, because that's not really what the movie is about. The movie is really about showcasing Naruto and Kakashi's bond, and I think it does a really good job of showing just how much Kakashi means to Naruto and how much his teachings have impacted him. And it also shows Sakura and Sai and their bonds with Kakashi, and it's all very sweet and emotional. I cried a couple times during this movie. I also feel this movie gave Shikamaru a really good arc of what it really means to have the Will of Fire and to protect the village and all of that. And it was very touching of how they tied that back into what Asuma has taught him, and I really liked it a lot. Again, Hiroko as a villain isn't really all that threatening once they actually get to fighting him, but he's really more of kind of a catalyst or a placeholder for all the other stuff I just mentioned before. I'm sure you guys already know where I'm putting this movie. It's S tier for me. I would definitely recommend watching it. I think it's really good. Alright, next we have Naruto Shippuden, the movie The Lost Tower. It came out in 2010. and little blurb says, caught up in a chakra, I don't know if there's supposed to be another word after that, but anyway, Naruto is sent back in time to the city of Loran. Naruto might be able to return to his own time, and a chance encounter in the past might save the future. I literally don't even want to talk about this movie because it's literally just such a frustrating waste of potential. It's set after episode 143 of Shippuden, and basically Naruto and Yamato get sent back like 20 years into the past or something. And by the way, we don't get to see Yamato for like the entire fucking movie because him and Naruto get separated. So Naruto ends up meeting up with Minato's team, composed of Minato, Choza, and Shibi Aburame, Shino's dad. And basically they all have to work together to protect this teenager who's like the queen of the city or like whatever. I don't know, I don't care. Oh yeah, and we get to see young Kakashi for like 5 seconds. Minato sends him off to like do some thing. I forgot what exactly. So we literally don't get to see him. Like, we see him once at the beginning, and we don't get to see him until the end of the movie when he comes back with Yamato because they, like, met up. This movie was such a letdown, in my opinion, because instead of getting to see really cool interactions between Naruto and Yamato and young Kakashi and Minato, Yamato and Kakashi are absent for the majority of the film. Also, Choza and Shibi are severely underused. Like, they don't really do anything in this movie, so I'm putting this movie in F. I know that that's a bit harsh, and it's not actually that bad of a movie, but I don't care. It pissed me off. Alright, next we have Naruto Shippuden, the movie Blood Prison. It came out in 2011. The little summary says, Naruto is convicted of a crime that he did not commit and sent to an inescapable prison. Although he plans to break out, he must find trustworthy allies before attempting to escape. And it's set after episode 196 of Shippuden. I quite like this movie. It's definitely not the best Naruto movie, but it's one of the better ones. Also, this movie is like technically canon because the Blood Prison actually comes back in Boruto, and I think it's also mentioned in one of the novels, if I'm not mistaken. I know the Boruto thing for sure because I've watched that arc. I actually think that the Boruto Blood Prison arc was overall more interesting than this movie, but I feel like this movie does a good job of setting up the Blood Prison as like an institution, so that's fine. The prison warden is also a bit more of a memorable villain than most of these Naruto movie villains tend to be, so the movie also gets some points for that. I also really like the friendship between Ryuzetsu and Naruto. I thought that their relationship was very sweet. I'm putting this movie in B. I feel like it has the potential to move to A if I rewatch it again, but for now I'm sticking with B. Alright, next we have Road to Ninja, Naruto the movie. It came out in 2012, and so its little summary says, Toby used limited Tsukuyomi to transport Naruto and Sakura into an alternate reality filled with polar opposites of their friends. I really liked this movie. It's so silly, but I had a lot of fun with it. The majority of the movie takes place in the Infinite Tsukuyomi world, and if you watch the Infinite Tsukuyomi arc, the filler arc, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like the summary says, it's basically like this alternate reality world where everyone is the polar opposite of their canon selves. And so in this movie, as Naruto and Sakura as the ones who aren't from this Infinite Tsukuyomi reality, they actually switch lives. So Naruto gets to see what his life would have been like if he had grown up with his parents, if they hadn't died when he was a baby. And Sakura's parents instead are shinobi who were killed in action saving the village. I don't know if it's from the Nine Tails. I don't actually remember, but they were killed in action and they're like considered like the heroes of the village. Getting to see these like alternate versions of what their lives could have been like was quite emotional for both Naruto and Sakura. And for me, I cried a few times watching this movie. I really like this movie. It surprisingly has like a really good balance of silliness with all the opposite versions of these characters that we all know and love, while also having like some more emotional bits. So it's a solid A for me. I definitely recommend that you give it a watch. Alright, now we have arrived to the last Naruto movie, which is appropriately named The Last Naruto the movie. It came out in 2014, and its little summary says, 2 years after the Fourth Shinobi World War, Naruto must stop Tonari Otsutsuki, a descendant of Hamura Otsutsuki, after Tonari causes the moon to descend towards Earth. I don't want to say too much about this movie because it's actually canon, but I will say that after The Will of Fire, this is my favorite Naruto movie. I thought that the romance stuff between Naruto and Hinata, despite not being a particularly big Naruhina like shipper myself, I thought that it was sweet. I mean, like, historically Naruto isn't the greatest anime at like fleshing out romantic relationships for like the most part, but I feel like this movie did a pretty good job. My favorite part of this movie, though, it really isn't a spoiler, so I'm gonna talk about it, is this really cool team up that we see between Sakura and Shikamaru and Sai, and they all worked so well together. Oh, it was so cool to see. I'm like, oh, I wish we got to see like more of like that trio. Like, they were so cool. Also, this is really a part of the movie that you should experience for yourself because it's just wild. So I won't say much about it, but just know that the Raikage, he's got some wild ideas and some wild things to say, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, this movie makes it to S tier easily. Go watch it. I mean, it's canon. You should probably just go watch it anyway. All right, last but not least, we have Boruto. Naruto the movie. It came out in 2015. It's our one and only Boruto movie thus far. And so its little blurb, little summary, it says, several years after the end of the Shinobi War, Naruto's son Boruto is about to enter the Chunin exams alongside Sarada Uchiha and the mysterious Mitsuki. I don't really have all that much to say about this movie just because, like, if you watch Boruto, like, this movie is, like, basically, like, the first arc. Like, it was adapted into the first arc of Boruto the anime. So I would really just say, like, go watch Boruto the anime, because I feel like the anime does a better job at, like, fleshing out, like, some things that the movie really can't, because it's less, like, it's a shorter runtime. But just, like, as a movie, like, it's fine. Like, it's definitely not, again, it's definitely not, like, the best Naruto movie, but it's also not the worst one either. And because I like Boruto, like, I like it a little bit more than just, like, the other Naruto movies, so I'm gonna put it at B. I think for now, I think that's fine. It definitely doesn't beat out, Blood Prison, but I think it's a B. I think it's a solid B. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here is my final ranking of the Naruto movies. This is how I would currently rank them. This is subject to change, like, depending on if I rewatch certain movies and, like, kind of, like, gain, like, a different perspective. But for now, this is kind of how I would put them in this tier list. I'm not particularly afraid of, like, offending anyone with my Naruto movie opinions because, again, I don't think most Naruto fans have even seen most of these movies, so I think we're okay. But if you do have any strong feelings about any of the movies, please leave them down below in the comments of this video. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.